Over the last few months we've been really busy here in Montserrat preparing for the return of the mountain chicken, and in order to do that, one of the first things we had to do was build the safe haven we've designed to contain them. So the idea with this safe haven is it's not only just a safe haven from Chytrid, it's also a safe haven from introduced predators and pests such as rats, cats and dogs. So in order to do this, we cleared the canopy around the enclosure at least 1.5 to 2 metres distance from the fence line. We had Johnny Lindsay and his team join us, as well as some of our partners from the Department of Environment here in Montserrat to help with the labour during some of the tougher phases of construction. We started by marking out the perimeter, and then after we'd done this, we removed the trees in that area where we were going to construct the fence. We also removed trees about 1.5 metres from the fence to prevent rats from scaling the trees and using them to enter the enclosure. Once we'd done this, we then started the construction process. Now this was a lot harder than you might imagine. Not only are materials hard to source here in Montserrat, but the terrain of Montserrat is extremely steep and it's also covered with ash. The area we were in, being wild and remote, hadn't had a heavy amount of footfall, so the ash here was very loose. Once we'd gathered all of our materials, we transported them to the field site and then started moving them up through the dense forest. This is no small task, especially when you're talking about tons, literal tons of cement. Day 2, we started planting the posts, and then after that was established, we then started to dig the foundations by which we were going to bury the fence down. Now, part of this being a semi-wild enclosure means that the mountain chicken's food needs to be able to enter the field site. So in order to allow for this, we have a lower mesh portion of the fence. And this lower mesh portion allows for prey species that the mountain chicken can eat to enter the enclosure, but it doesn't allow for pest species that might damage the mountain chicken, such as rats, cats or dogs, to enter. And that was also the reason for having the sheet steel above it, which prevents the rats and the cats from scaling the enclosure. And we sink it down so that the rats and the dogs don't try and dig underneath it. After several days of hard labour, digging the holes, setting the posts and digging the trenches to sink the fence into, we began the true work, which was moving the heavy sheet steel up into the forest, and here we unrolled it. In total, the construction process took us 2.5 weeks, and even when that was done, we still weren't finished. We still had ponds to build, hides to construct, and then other plant species to introduce into the enclosure to make it better suited to the mountain chicken.